Good morning. Good morning, good morning. How's it going, guys? Nice to have you on this morning. Beautiful, looks like it's going to be sunny today. Cold, but not freezing, -2. You can see at the bottom left of my screen. Not too bad. But big news, huh? Big news out there. I woke up this morning and saw all this news about this AI product from DeepSeek, and just a bunch of hype. A lot of hype, a lot of news, a lot of freaking out, a lot of people going crazy. And every time I see this, I always know they're up to something. The news is going to help facilitate something. And leading into the weekend, what were my thoughts? So I always go back to, if news comes out on the weekend, I always think, what were my thoughts on Friday? What was I thinking about the markets? Where were we in the storyline? That's why it's always so important to understand the storyline of price. Because if you understand where we are in the storyline, then you have a better understanding. If news comes out on the weekend, what that news is all about and what it's going to try to facilitate. And so it became pretty clear to me. I mean, I posted over the weekend about the stock index, the Dow Jones, and what was required for price to continue going higher, what we'd be looking for in terms of the sequence that we talk about here at the school. And then lo and behold, the news comes out. It's like Q news. It's incredible, right? So this DeepSeek AI technology apparently came out in December. All right, so if it came out in December, why is everybody caring about it now? Why? Well, I posted some thoughts that I got from looking it up on some AI software. And it told me that there was a release of some new software over the weekend. Okay, whatever. There's always going to be an explanation. There's always going to be a reason, okay? If the market had contacted some demand on Friday on the stock indexes, and it was due to rally over the weekend and this morning, there'd be some other piece of news making the headlines. You understand? There'd be something else to explain why the market is so bullish. It just so happens that they needed a pullback, so they come out with all this news to help stir up that fear. And this is just how it goes, ladies and gents. We see this all the time. And so today's news is big headlines, huge, huge headlines, is about Nvidia. Nvidia stock is dropping, and it's going to pull down the markets and all this stuff. So let's just put that to the side there for a minute, okay? And let's just examine what has been taking place here. Before we make any assumptions about anything, let's just look at the facts, okay? When we look at the facts, things will become a little bit more clear. We have a situation here. Let's start with the weekly time frame, because if you remember, and if you've been following us on our X feed, and more importantly our Telegram, you have to get into our Telegram channel. If you're not, I don't know how you're trading these markets, to be honest with you. So you have to get in there. All right. So we had institutional demand come into play here. What's institutional demand? Well, it's the banks, the big banks that come in and drive the price of something because their buying exceeds the buying of everybody. They come in, they drive price up. Okay. Then they retrace to those buying areas so they can refill in those orders, and it causes price to go up. As you can see, when demand came into play, it drove price to the upside. And then what happened is price dropped again back to this area of demand. And I said, This area of demand has been tested. So if it's going to continue higher, they need to come in with new buying. Remember I said that? Okay. I said they're going to need to come in with new buying should price continue higher. And so what did we just recently get? New buying. Okay. What does that new buying look like when you're looking at the charts? You know what it looks like? You take it down one time frame, and this is what you have. Remember, this is the new buying coming down here, right? We had an institutional supply area here that could have prevented price from rallying, because if the banks really wanted to break through that weekly area of buying, they would have likely used this area of selling to help facilitate that. Okay, that's something huge. What I just told you is huge. Listen to what I'm saying. If they wanted to drop price down, they would have very likely, 90% chance, if not higher, used this area of selling to propel price to the downside. They didn't do that. They removed it. Okay? Not only that, but there was a descending trend line here. Not only that, but that descending trend line, instead of being sold, I'm sure there was a lot of retail traders selling there. Why? Because they look through their books, and their books say, if you could draw a descending trend line and price gets up to that, the underside of that descending trend line, sell it, right? So they look through their chapter, you know, how to sell the market. Oh, underside of descending trend line and sell. So that's what they do. So they were selling. Banks came in and bought. They bought. They bought right here. Okay? This is where they bought. And so what did we see happen after that? A nice rally in price. Not just a rally to go anywhere, a rally to remove a previous supply area. You see how the high of that supply was removed here? Yeah, it didn't close above it. It didn't close above it. So that's a little bit of a weak sign, okay? Ideally, we would have liked to see price close above that supply. We didn't get the close above. That's kind of a problem. I'm not going to ignore that, okay? I have to be objective. As a trader doing analysis, I have to be objective. Even though I want to see that price closed above it, I can't pretend that it happened, because it didn't happen. But all the other aspects are here. The buying from the weekly area of demand, important. The breaking through of the daily area of supply, important. The breaking of the descending trend line on the daily time frame, important. The removal of the top area of supply, important. The fact that it didn't close above that supply is also important. But what do we have now? Big decline into where? Where did it decline into? Institutional buying. So remember the theme that I told you was in play. Okay? The longer you follow us and the more videos you watch, the more you're going to understand my vocabulary. Because I speak differently than most traders. And the reason being is because I'm looking at what the market's actually doing. I'm not talking about Bollinger Bands and support and resistance and stuff that is not actually really taking place. Those may be coincidences that lay on top of the reality, but they don't show you the reality. What we're looking at is the reality. So it'll take a while for you to understand the vocabulary, but once you do, I mean, this is just like, you know, remember Wizard of Oz when she was spinning through the sky and all of a sudden she entered into that world that full of color, and it was like a whole new world? Well, once you understand the vocabulary, you're never going to see the markets the same again. You'll always see truth in the markets. How deep depends on how much you study. The more you study with us, the more truth you see. The less you study, the less truth you see. It all depends on how much you want to commit. But I'm trying to relay some really important information here so that you understand, number one, why the headlines came out the way they did and what it's facilitating, so that you understand there was already a storyline in play here before the news came out. That's Extremely important to understand, okay? So now what do we have? We have price coming down to where? Price is coming down to an institutional demand area. So is this important? Yeah, because banks are buying here, okay? It's important because banks are buying here. How do I know? Because they were buying here. Do I know for a fact that they're buying now? Yeah, actually, I could tell that they are buying now. Why? What do you think is happening right here? You see this big wick here? This is something that we teach in the school. Students are looking at this right now. They know exactly what's going on. My students who have been following us and doing the classes are watching this right now, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's exactly what we've been learning. We've seen this so many times, all right? And they're pretty shocked because they're like, this is crazy. Yeah, it is crazy. It happens all the time. Once you know what to look for, once you understand what's going on, you see it on the chart, you're like, oh my gosh. So what happened here is this big drop here was retail traders getting in late, okay? Those retail traders that are shorting this market because of the news, they got in late, okay? The momentum started to pick up, and down here at the lows, they got in late. It's like what they do all the time, right? Because most traders are told you can't know what the market is going to do, what they do is they wait for it to do it, and then they get in. And that's exactly what the banks want. That's exactly what the big institutions want you to think. Because they get in and create the move, and then they let you have a little bit of crumbs at the end, but then they're going to use that against you, right? Everybody getting in short right now, everybody who's selling right now, who do you think is buying from all those people that are selling? Big institutions. So I can't tell you 100% what's going to happen. I can only read the storyline and tell you what the odds are of something happening, okay? I see the setup. I see what has taken place. I see what the banks are coming in with buying. I see the importance of their buying, and I can make a prediction based on that. And my prediction is that banks will continue buying from this area. And over time, we will see buying pressure start to form from here. Could something else happen? Sure, it could. But I'd say the odds of price rallying up from this buying area are probably, if price had closed above that supply up there, we'd be in the 90%. The odds of them continuing to buy from there. We'd be in around 90%. The fact that it didn't close above, it's like 78 to 84%. Okay, and that's not bad. I mean, you have to decide what your odds are that you like to trade. I'd say 78 to 84% chance that there's going to be continued buying there. So there's 16% chance that it's not. They can settle price down and then drop it. It's a possible, small possibility. But I think this headline is to scare the hell out of everybody, to cause people to sell, and that is what you see taking place on the charts. All right? So as this week unfolds, as this day unfolds, I want you to be paying attention to that. I want you to be paying attention to what I just told you, and I want you to see how things are going to play out. Remember the odds, 78 to 84%. I have orders in the markets to trade one of the indexes. I'm not going to share that with you because I've already shared it with students. It is one of those trades that I share with students. And if you want to see the trades that I've been taking, so far they're doing very well. I opened up a bunch of trades a couple weeks ago. So far they're doing extremely well. We're set to do very well in 2025. Last year we got about 35% return, and that wasn't that great. We could do a lot better, but this year we're going to kill it, even better than last year. About the scholarship, yeah, we have a new class coming out on February. We're going to be doing a masterclass on the CFTC data. A lot of people have been asking, how do you interpret the CFTC data? How do you do this and that with respect to the CFTC data? How do we do our analysis? How do you make these predictions? So we're going to be starting a class doing that. If you want to win a scholarship, we're going to be offering a scholarship for every month. So whoever wins a scholarship for February, we're going to have a new one for March. and then April and May, all throughout 2025. So amazing opportunity. How do you enter? Follow us on our social media accounts. Like, reply, respond, retweet, share, because we're looking at all of it. That's right. I have a team here at the school that is looking at all of our social media accounts and looking to see who's liking, who's sharing, who's putting in the most effort. And then we're going to be contacting you, getting your information. There's a process. You need to make sure you subscribe to the newsletter on our website, become a member, a free member on our website, so you have a login and a password and all that stuff. And then we'll be contacting you and letting you know who won for February. Very exciting. So I hope you guys get out there and put in some effort, because you're not going to want to miss this at the end of 2025. You're going to say, why didn't I just do those things? I could have just done those things and won a scholarship and learned from this guy. And I'm here to help. I'm done. I need some water. I need to go eat some breakfast with my family. And that's it. You take care. It was a pleasure. And arrivederci.